Hey, what's up, Omar?
Hey, what's up, Dan? Hey, thank you so much for making time here on the Metal Mixtape for my radio show, man.
Yeah, no worries, dude. I appreciate the inquiry.
Dude, honestly, dude, I remember when I was like 16 years old in high school, I used to rock a huge ATREYU belt buckle, dude, and I was like a chubby kid, and that thing would grind right up against my stomach when I wore it every day, anyways.
Oh, yeah, dude. I put that nice little red dent in there.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, no, dude, I appreciate it, dude. I've been listening to you guys since The Curse and Suicide Notes and Butterfly Kisses. So for me, like, as much as this is an interview, I just want to have a nice conversation with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first off, dude, like I said, I'm super stoked to have you. Been a huge fan. Every release you guys have released has been amazing. I remember the first time I ever saw you guys were doing Taste of Chaos. And it was, I believe you guys played with Bullet for My Valentine, I think it was, and Avenged Sevenfold. I think that was the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember, like,
Yeah.
I remember me and my friends, we all saw you, man. We were like, freaking out, dude. And, yeah, no, that was just an amazing show, dude. And me and my friends in high school, dude, we used to follow every little thing that you guys ever did. We used to look up, like, your set list and stuff and, like, know exactly what's coming on after each song. So it's fantastic, man.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's very cool.
So one thing I want to know for the very first question is, did you grow up having musical influences, or did you just randomly pick up a guitar one day?
I mean, I had musical influences, I guess, at the time that I picked up my guitar, I guess it was probably, Green Day, and was probably the number one at the time. Billy Joe, just the way he looked, and me, my favorite color being green, their band being called Green Day, and, like, he was this, like, short dude with green eyes and brown hair, and I was a short dude with green eyes and brown hair. I was kind of like, man, I'm kind of like this dude, and just like this guy, and, like, I want to be like that, and, like, that all kind of, it was that kind of tied in with just this guy that I was sitting next to. His name was Brian Kelly. I don't know if anything came of him musically or anything like that, but he was I was in 7th grade back in 1994, and he was just learning how to play the drums, and I was sitting next to him in my first period history class, and he insisted that I should play an instrument too, and we should start a band of some sort. So I started playing guitar, and I never started a band with him or anything, but we jammed a little bit here and there once or twice, and it kind of ended there. But yeah, so I guess long story short, it would kind of been a Green Day, so they would have been the number one around that time.
Dude, that's amazing, dude. So, what was the thing that pushed you a little bit more towards metal?
Well, at first it started with punk, like kind of.
Oh yeah.
I guess to give you the kind of the full journey is like listening to Green Day or even like Offspring and I don't know, any of that kind of stuff. Like our singer Alex actually. He kind of took me away from, we both met, over the common love for Green Day, but he was a little bit more punk than I was and kind of took me down the journey and the road of initially into Rancid, which there led into like NoFX, and then kind of took me down to the road of going into like the Sex Pistols and Dead Kennedys and Exploited and GBH and going like really punk. And then from there, like, it kind of started with the hardcore scene, like the hardcore scene, there was a lot of bands that kind of crossed over, like AFI, kind of went both ways as far as being a band. We were like, well, this is like hardcore, but it was also some punk kind of stuff as well, and melodic. So we kind of started leading over to the hardcore stuff, and from there, a lot of the hardcore bands are very metal influenced. So you start listening to more hardcore, and you start hearing the more heavy stuff, and it was the actual going to the shows, like the hardcore shows, and just seeing the energy that the crowd put off, and then just how crazy the band's energy was on stage. We were like, I've never seen anything like this before. This is like the most wild, Neverland of concerts I've ever seen. And like, I want to be in a band that's on stage making people do what these people are doing. Like, I want to have that fun and that power, like it sounds so much fun.
No, I completely agree.
So,
oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, basically went from there. And that kind of was what led into like metal and stuff like that. The metal influences of hardcore.
No, I dig it, man. And I agree with a lot of those punk shows and underground shows. Like, my favorite thing that ever gravitates me to any genre of watching it live is that live energy. Like a band could be crushing, and they could have like no stage energy, and and I think it like reflects onto the crowd. But if you see a band, playing really simple stuff and just out there having fun and a blast, I feel like that like just really pumps up an energy that much more in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different recipes to pumping up the crowd, but that one of them is one way of going about it is definitely putting out what you want to get back, and it's if you just go nuts and just and just play like no one's watching and just go absolutely get as much into the song as you can for what the song deserves and needs and what you're putting into it. The crowd will feel that energy that you're putting out there, that vibration, but it's also tough. It goes the other way. If you're not getting it back from the crowd, it can be tough to, if you're not getting that ping pong effect, it can be tough to keep it going. It's almost to keep that energy going. You like need the energy of the crowd to like fuel you. So without it, it's hard to sustain sometimes.
I totally agree, dude. So when you first started started ATREYU and started playing music and all that, did you guys write like all the music right for like the first album, or was this like an accumulation of songs that you've been writing before you joined in the band?
For Suicide Note?
Yeah, like just for ATREYU in general.
Oh, in general. Well, ATREYU originally was a punk band called Retribution, which consisted of, the original lineup was just Alex, Brandon, and myself. And Alex sang and played bass. And, we put out cassette tapes in the 90s when we were in high school, because we all went to high school together.
Oh, that's great.
And junior high. Yeah. We started, we met in junior high, and then Alex and I started playing when we were both in 8th grade, and then by our freshman year, Brandon was a 8th grader at that time. He was a year younger than us. We started our band Retribution. And then eventually Alex didn't want to play bass anymore. He just wanted to be lead singer guy. And our buddy Kyle Stanley came in and played bass, so it became a 4-piece. We did that for a little bit, and then eventually our sound, and as I was mentioning before, how our taste in music started getting heavier just because of the attraction of the live shows and whatnot. We realized like maybe it'd be a good time to just kind of break away from the punk scene and just have a fresh start with a fresh name and kind of root ourselves in the hardcore scene and kind of just go from there. And that's when we decided to change our name to ATREYU. So when we started writing ATREYU stuff, it was written for ATREYU. Like it was kind of like this is our new start. Let's write, and we would write stuff. It just kind of was based off that. But by the time we got to our first album, Suicide Note and Butterfly Kisses, that was kind of an accumulation of songs written for that album, as well as some songs that were on a previous EP called Fractures of the Thought of My Porcelain Beauty that was had a couple of those songs that just carried over because we didn't have enough songs and we were like, still new in the songwriting game. So writing a full album was, biting off a big mouthful for a young band.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty hard just for any band just to write one album, and it's insane after that album how much you guys took off. Did you ever think that you were going to be growing up to be playing big stages and sharing the spotlight with a lot of other of your favorite bands? Did you ever think it was going to go this far?
Yes and no. I mean, like, I had this weird thing where, in my mid-20s, I kind of started looking into life more and, like, kind of learning about even the laws of attraction and, just how the universe works and all this crazy stuff. And one of the things I learned, like, speaking of the laws of attraction and just, how thoughts become things, and just when you put energy towards stuff and when you, essentially wish for stuff and do things to make your wish come true, it will in one way, shape, or form show up in your life, whether it be immediately, in a couple days, or in years later, but So what happened was once I kind of gotten this enlightenment, I started looking back on my life and kind of like how I got to where I was. Because at this point I was in, kind of the heat of, the success of ATREYU and all over MTV and all these things I never thought in a million years would be possible. But I was in high school. I used to refer to myself as a rock star in training. And I would tell people in school, like the kind of thing where people are like, when you're younger, they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some people will be like, oh, I want to be a fireman or a police officer, or I want to, work in a bakery or whatever people say,
Yep.
lawyer. My thing was always just like, I want to be a rock star. Like, that's what I want to do. And like, I can't imagine my things. So I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of sleep through my classes, and I just kind of didn't really care, and just, I don't know, it was kind of like I knew I was going to make it. I didn't understand how it was all going to come together. I just kind of just knew. And I don't know, it was really weird. Like I said, it wasn't until I started looking back that I kind of put everything together. I was like, man, I've just kind of been on this mindset forever. Like the second I picked up a guitar, it's always just been like, well, I've got to start the band, and I've got to just, this is what I'm going to do. And then everything else is just kind of, just stuff to kind of put me along to get what I want out of this music thing.
Dude, I think that's awesome, dude. And I think, that's definitely like the mentality you have to have is that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen, dude. And I feel the same way about just little things in my life where when I started it, I was just like, all right, I guess this is my life,
Yeah. No, even doing like your radio show and stuff. I mean, it's one thing you can, just say like, I want to be a radio, personality, and I'm going to have my own show. And then you can just tell people about it and never do anything and, just expect it to happen. Like, obviously nothing's going to happen. I mean, the chances somebody just all of a sudden stumbling across you and being like, I think you'd be great for my show, and it could be your show, or,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not to happen. But like when you start putting, when you start putting the effort in and you start moving towards this goal that you've now created for yourself, it starts opening up doors that weren't there before. It starts creating relationships that weren't there before. It starts creating opportunities that weren't there before. And it's really neat how you can watch your goal, become closer and closer and closer, and eventually become a reality if you just, genuinely believe you can do it, and at the same time do something to get it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking about it earlier while I was at work, is that at the beginning you spend hundreds of hours trying to make your dream happen, and then after your dream begins to happen, you have to spend hundreds of hours to keep up with it.
Yeah, it doesn't ever stop. It's an ongoing thing, and just like with anything in the world, it's kind of like you can learn a lot from the ocean and waves, like how or surfing essentially, trying to catch waves.
Mm-hmm.
You can catch a wave and you can ride it for a long time, and maybe it slows down for a little bit, or maybe you can catch a wave and ride it forever. Who knows? But sometimes things just come away. So like sometimes you catch wave and you see it, a lot of times in music, you see it in brands of clothing and movie actors and stuff like that. You might see an actor that's just really popular and in every movie for a while, for like a couple years straight, like, man, they're just everywhere. And then all of a sudden they just kind of disappear. You're like, that's kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, or even 10 years later, 15 years later, one of these people catches another wave again, and they end up on a few different things. You're like, oh, weird, like, so weird. That person was gone forever. Now they're like super popular again. Some people never catch another wave, or when they do, it's just a quick one, but it's tough to sustain, it's tough to keep catching waves and be able to sustain for, a lifetime.
No, I completely agree, man. With that mentality, one thing I try to do is not get too comfortable with the fire I've started, but just try to think how I'm going to keep the fire lit.
Yeah.
So one of my next questions I want to ask you, Dan, is was there a moment or a show when you realized that you finally made it to one of the goals that you try to accomplish? Was there a big show with a crowd that you played, or a band that you opened for? Was there a big moment where you put your guitar on and was like, damn, this is it?
I had two in particular that kind of stand out in my mind. The first one was a show we were playing at a venue in Orange County called Chain Reaction.
Oh yeah.
It's a small venue. It holds like, maybe 400 people. We grew up there watching a lot of bands that we admired, as well as, playing little shows as Retribution, as well as then ATREYU. And I remember this one show, I think we just kind of put out our first, we're about to put out our first EP, or maybe we just put out one of our albums, something like that. And we kind of put everything we got into it. And like at this point, we were kind of like, man, like if this isn't, go anywhere, like I don't really know what else to do. Like we kind of sent our album out to everybody. We tried all these things. Like we just need to get this going. We just need to get a crowd reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And our singer Alex at the time, we're standing on stage, and we're probably about a minute away from starting. And he turns to me and he's like, man, like this isn't fucking work, man. I don't, if this show doesn't go off, like I don't, this might be it, dude. I think, I'm kind of over it. I don't know what else to do. And I said, I turned to him and I said, don't worry about it, man. Like, we got this. Like, so we got this. You know how we do this, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know how we do this. And he was like, all right. And like, we turned around and went, counted off the first song. And the crowd just fucking like erupted. And we were like, holy shit. Like, we'd never had a response like that before ever. And, it wasn't the biggest response we'd ever had in our lives, but at the time it was. And it just, it was like such a sign to us, like, you guys are doing the right thing. Keep going. So there was that, and then, when we released The Curse, we had a signing. They wanted us to do a signing the day that it came out. This was in 2004, in late June. They wanted us to do a signing in Orange County at this outdoor mall called The Block, and they have at the outdoor mall they have this Virgin mega store, like a Virgin Records, which was a major, like a major market, big league thing, so a band like ATREYU to, have as aggressive as vocals as we especially did at the time, to be accepted into Virgin to do a signing was just like, it just didn't even make sense. We're just like, what? Like, why would they even want us to do that? Like, who's going to even come to this thing? Like, this is going to be embarrassing. So, day of, I drive down there with my brother and, like, I can't remember what else I was with. My brother and one or two of my friends. And I remember getting out of my car, and as we started approaching, I could see off in the distance this line that was started at the Virgin Record store and literally disappeared around the block.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I mean, this, like, I don't even know where this line ends. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, we've never even attracted this many people to a show, let alone to a signing. Like, this was, like, the whole thing was just, like, mind-blowing. In fact, if you really go digging around on the internet, if you look for the release of the Curse video, it might even be on an Ozfest website. I think Ozfest has it on there somewhere. There's a video of that release. They have it on there, and it's gnarly to see. We were signing for like 5 hours, and we had to take like intermissions. Like, I just couldn't believe it. The whole thing, we were just like, what the hell is going on right now? Like, how did this happen? Like, I don't even understand. But like, we'll take it. This is cool, And like from there, like you could feel like we've elevated to another level, and something really cool was about to happen.
Dude, I think that is absolutely amazing, man. I get the goosebumps just trying to put myself in your shoes, man, and it just must have been mind-blowing just to see that line just being like, holy crap, and especially when you were telling me when you were playing the Chain Reaction, like, hey, man, like, I hope this happens, because, like, being in a band, it's so much self-sacrifice, and a lot of times, the more serious it gets, you start being away from your family and, your normal habits, but I think that's super amazing, man. Those are great stories.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Absolutely, dude. So you guys have been playing all these shows. You guys have been playing all these tours for, man, almost 20 years, it feels like, or 20 years. So was there ever a moment?
Now, 21.
21, dude. That's amazing, man. So was there ever another band, or let's say like another band member from one of your favorite bands, that when you got off stage gave you a compliment that like completely like made your day? Like just like an idol of yours that you played with, or if you just encountered at a festival and they're just like, hey, Dan, that was awesome. Did you ever have one of those moments?
Yeah, I had a couple weird moments. Let me think. We had one, we were playing, where were we? We were in Australia. I think we were in, like, Perth or something. I don't know. I don't remember what city it was in. We were in somewhere. This is like 2009 or 10. We were on this tour called the No Sleep Till Tour. And the Descendants, had just come back and were on this tour. And I'm like, fucking mind blown. They're one of my favorite bands. And we were sitting in our dressing room, and like this dude comes into our room, and he's like, "Hey, like, are you guys in ATREYU's room?" And we're like, "Yeah, can we help you?" And he was like, I don't remember his name, but like, terrible fan I am. But he was like, "Yeah, I'm so and so. I'm the bass player for the Descendants. Like I wanted to come in here and just say, hello. Like my, I've listened to some of your guys' music. It's awesome, and my kids are big fans and stuff, and they'd kill me if I didn't come in here and say hello." I was like, "What?" I was like, "You're what? Like, hi, I don't even say it right now." We're just like, holy shit, the Descendants came to our room to, like, talk to us. Like, what's this life?
That's amazing, dude. That totally blows my mind. What did you have any other stories besides this one?
I have one. It's a pretty interesting story. If you don't mind me telling it. It's got a little bit of length to it.
Oh no, but, hey, it's totally fine. Honestly, as long as you're okay with the time after this, I have 3 more questions. As long as you're okay with it, I'm okay with it, brother.
Yeah. So basically, I grew up being it's a pretty wild story. Laws of attraction stuff. It's a really wild story. So I was growing up. I was a big fan, starting in the '90s, like 80s metal and stuff. I loved, particularly the band Warrant was like the first band of that type of music that I'd ever heard. So fast forward years later, it's about maybe 2006 or somewhere around that, 2007, 2006, 2008, and I am in New York City, and I'm doing I just done a thing for Revolver magazine where they basically take Guitar World, and they took my top 10 bands from the 80s that influenced me, and I had to pick one song from each band, tell them why it influenced me, and they were going to put them all on a CD in this magazine when they released it. So this magazine gets released, right, and fast forward, like 2 months later, as I was mentioning, I'm in New York, and I'm at Guitar World, actually, again, I'm shooting like a video with our other guitar player, Travis, records some stuff of us playing. And while I'm out there, I get this email from my manager saying it was forwarded from our booking agent that the guitarist, Joey Allen of Warrant, is trying to get a hold of me.
Wow.
And I was like, what the fuck? And so what happened is in one of the songs that I had mentioned in this CD was Warrant, Cherry Pie. Not that it's my favorite Warrant song, but it was the first song I'd ever heard by them. So like it kind of like started me on this journey. And so I mentioned that song, and apparently he had heard this, this was going on, saw it in the magazine, and their band had just got Janie Lane, the singer, back in, and they were kind of making their big comeback. So this was like, for him, a big ordeal that someone as fresh and relevant and hip at the time as my band would mention their band in a public, publishing like that, that's as big as that. So he wanted to get a hold of me to try to schmooze me and say thank you. So long story short, this dude calls my phone. I get this anonymous call. I'm like, what the hell? Like, when I get out of Guitar World, I answer the phone, and it's, Joey Allen. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, the dude from Warrant is calling me right now? Like, oh my God. Like, this is amazing. Like, I love this band. Like, this is crazy. So I'm like, hey, who's this? He's like, oh, it's Joey Allen from Warrant. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, dude, I just want to thank you for, mentioning my band and blah, blah, blah. We're making this comeback and da-da-da-da-da. By the way, I wanted to see, if I can come out and see your band play. I know you guys are playing, in Long Beach for like Avenged Sevenfold or whatever. I think kind of come out. And we're like, yeah, sure, cruise out to the show. Wow, like fucking dude wants to come out and see me, it's crazy. So, so, fast forward to the show, right? He comes out, and I meet him and stuff, and we start hanging and chit-chatting, and he starts talking about where he lives, and I'm like, wait, so where do you, he said he originally said he lived in Irvine or something like that, kind of in Orange County area. I'm like, oh, dude, I live in Orange County. He's like, yeah, I live in Irvine, like kind of just off the 241 or something like that. I'm like, huh, I'm like, I live just off that area. I'm like, where exactly do you live? He's like, well, I live, in this city, and I live there, on these cross streets. And I'm like, I live off those cross streets.
Wow.
And he's like, what? I'm like, wait, where do you live? And he tells me, like, he lives in this condo literally across the street from me.
Wow.
I'm like, what the fuck are the chances of that? Like, what is going on? Like, what is my life? So then it gets even stranger. He's like, dude, you should come hang out. And I'm like, yes, I should. I should come hang out. So I tell him, I'm like, hey, man, like, do you smoke pot at all? And he's like, I do. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, have you ever heard of a thing called a volcano? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, it's this contraption that gets you really, really high. It looks like a volcano, and it fills his bag up with friggin' weed, and it gets super high. And he's like, all right, cool, man. You got to bring it over. I'm like, all right. So fast forward, to like, a couple weeks later, I get back from tour. I go over to his condo, and I bring the trash bag with some weed and my volcano, right? And I get to the door, I ring the doorbell, and he answers the door and immediately hands me a Warrant T-shirt and a Warrant DVD of them live in 1991 in Japan. And I'm like, part of me is like, all right, this is awesome. And the other part of me is like, it's kind of weird. Like, just coming to hang out, dude. You didn't have to, like, give me stuff. But, like, all right, thanks, man. So I take the stuff, and, like, we go upstairs, and, we go out on his balcony. He's like, so, like, what do you want to do? I'm like, yeah, you want to smoke? He's like, all right. So we go out on his balcony, and I fucking cook the rig out. I fill him up a bag of weed, and we're chit-chatting, and I hand it to him, and he takes one rip of this thing, and he, starts coughing it up, and, it's just kind of like, whoa, and I start talking to him a little bit more. I'm taking a rip, and then all of a sudden I realize this dude is just high off his tits. Like, it's just so high that he's, like, uncomfortable and doesn't know what to do with himself. And I'm like, what have I done with a guitar player's warrant? I've, like, ruined him. So he's like, he doesn't know what to do now. So he's like, hey, man, like, you want to go jam? I'm like, yes. Like, yes, I do.
Yes.
So at the time, he's like a rep for the guitar amp company he's in Kentner, and he's kind of trying to push the amps. So this was kind of partially a schmooze to try to push the amps on me, but whatever, I'll take it. So we go downstairs into his garage, and he's got the amp kind of ready to go. They use him Kettner to give me the spiel about it. And he opens up and he pulls out one of these guitars that he's had like since the fucking, like early 90s, I'm like, oh fuck, this is so sick. And he like plugs it in, and he's like talking to me about, trying to get me to get on this amp train. I'm like, oh dude, man, like, I don't know if I'm into this, man. Like, it looks cool and all, but I'm like, well, what did you use back in the 80s and the 90s? And he's like, I use Marshalls. I'm like, that's what I use, man. Like, I just use Marshalls. He's like, all right, touche. So he starts, then he goes, all right, how about this? He's like, let's play Name That Solo. And I'm like, all right, like, I'm high as shit right now. Like, I don't know, like,
so rad.
I don't know what this guy's going to give it. So he starts playing this solo, and I'm listening, and I'm like I said, I'm so stoned, like, I'm trying to focus, and like, I just don't know what it is. I'm like, I don't know, man, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's the solo from Mr. Rainmaker. I'm like, oh, he's playing his solo. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, so part of me is like, this is really fucking awesome, and the other part of me is like, this is kind of weird. Like, what's going on right now? Like, I feel like I don't really know what to do here. Like, I feel like I should know all the solos. Like, I'm so stoned right now. I'm like, they're so out of context. So I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I don't really know what's going on. So then he's like, all right, man. Like, after doing that a couple times, he's like, all right, man, here you play. And like in my mind, like for me, I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is my chance to like show a dude from the '80s. Because I wanted to be, like, one of my goals was to be accepted by the dudes from the 80s and have them consider me one of them, like the new generation of them. So, like, for me, this was like, here's your chance, Dan. Like, this dude from the 80s that you worshiped when you were a kid wants you to fucking shred for him right now, and you better fucking deliver, or he's going to fucking think you're a loser and not accept you into the club, So I fucking grabbed that guitar, and I was like, oh, shit, man, here we go. It all comes down to this. and I fucking just started wanking away, just anything that I could do that was just like, oh, just every fucking shreddy thing I could do. And then I did this for about 30 seconds straight, and then I stopped, and I looked up at him to, like, see what he would say and see what his, if he approved. And he paused for a second, and he just went, "You can play." And I was like, "Oh, I'm in. I'm in. Like, I did it." Like, I didn't say that. But, like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "Oh, shit, I'm in. Like, I fucking made it. I'm in the club." And, like, after that, like, fast-forwarding even, like, as a little side thing, he would invite me to places to, like, go, like, "Hey, man, I'm going to see Skid Row. Want to come with me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And I'd, like, go with him, and we'd, like, watch Skid Row and hang out with, like, the dude from Alice Cooper and shit. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. But, yeah, so, like, the final part of the story is we, after this, we go upstairs, and, after playing, he's like, "Hey, man, you want to watch the DVD?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, part of me again is like, "This is awesome," and the other part of me like, fucking weird. It's like, all right. So we go up there, and he doesn't have his DVD player hooked up, so like he has to go in his other room and like get it out and like bring it in, and he's like dad style on his hands and knees, like plugging it in with butt crack hanging out. I'm sitting there on the couch like just stoned out of my mind, just like giddy because I joined this 80s metal club, waiting to have this guy commentate War's live 1991 concert in Japan. So he finishes plugging it in, and he sits on the couch, and we go through like a few songs of him just like commentating. And again, this is like super rad, but so weird. Like, I'm like, all right, man. Like, I didn't ask for any of this, but he knows I'm a fan, so he's just like going through the motions. But I got through that, and eventually I was like, all right, man. Like, I'm gonna get out of here. Like, it's cool. Hey, man, I got to get back. And I took off, and like I said, we ended up becoming like good buddies and playing golf all the time. And like he kind of looked at me as like his like little brother or something like that he never had or something, because I was like him, but like the generation after, and we were like both the same type of guy. We had the same kind of taste in music, and we liked doing the same things, and it's pretty rad. Like, I ended up becoming really good friends with him, where he's like helped me with business over the years, and when there's been fires in our area, because he's moved since, he'll like call me and check on me to make sure my house is okay and stuff. Like, it's fucking weird, man. Life has a strange freaking way of working.
That is one of the, honestly, I think that's probably the best story I've ever heard, dude. And I think that's so funny that he totally got lit, and you're just like, what the hell did I do to this guy? I think what blows my mind is that this all started from you picking out a Warren song in a Guitar World magazine. That's insane, dude. And then you became homies with this guy.
Yeah, literally by doing that, I became friends with the guitarist of Warren, which then led me to becoming friends with the entire band. Like, I know them all, and they I've done interviews with their radio station, things that podcasts do, and it's just fucking weird, man. Life is the fucking Twilight Zone.
Dude, hey, you know what? The Twilight Zone fucking rocks, dude, in my opinion.
It does. It really does, man. I will ride this Twilight Zone fucking wave as long as I can.
Yeah, I almost felt high myself after you telling that story, man. That was awesome, dude.
Fuck yeah.
All right, dude. I got about 3 more questions for you. So, is there a specific song that you've written that you're really proud about that you can't wait to play live? Like just one of those like proud songs? I mean, you write a lot of killer shit, but is there maybe 1 or 2 songs where you're just like, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna shred this fucking solo?
I guess I like Right Side of the Bed because it's not the craziest solo, but live I kind of doll it up and make it a little crazier and just do stuff so it's not as simple as it is on the album. But even just writing the song, it was a song that was originally written for a band that Brandon and myself played in called Dreaming in Blue when we were in high school. It was like a pop punk band. And, the song it was originally one way or another a song for that. Like, I have the recording of it somewhere. And the singer that was singing at the time in that band was a guy named Johnny Russell, who went on to be the original guitarist for the band Cold War Kids. Another random side fact. But, that song, that band kind of, dissipated, and all the people in the band kind of went in their own directions. And when it came time to write the chorus, we were looking for stuff to kind of use, and it was like, man, I'd really love to use this kind of 80s rock song thing that I wrote for our other band. I'd like to take it and just make it heavier. We can kind of scream the verses, big singing courses, you know, and like I literally note for note used the same guitar solo and everything, and like we turned it into Right Side of the Bed, and then becoming our kind of breakthrough single that, you know, took us to that next level.
Dude, I think that's absolutely badass, dude. Yeah, no, I remember. I'll tell you. Actually, you know, I'll just put it in right now. My two favorite songs that I like. You know, like out of every band, you always have like those two spam songs where like, even though you've listened to it 100 times, like you're gonna listen to it 100 more times.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So for me, it's like probably my favorite ATREYU song of all time is the Remembrance Ballad.
Okay.
And that song, I mean, it totally blows my mind. I feel like it really hits home, and like Fork in the Road. I think that one has like one of the most badass intros I've ever heard of ATREYU. I just wanted to throw those out there. But when you're writing the songs for all these new albums, do you guys have like a concept that you guys have when you go in to write like a certain style, or is it just like you know, you grow up as musicians and individuals, and that's just how you feel on the album?
Yeah, it goes kind of just how you feel at the time. It's all a reflection of what, you know, you're feeling at the moment, what's going on in the world, and as well as all our own personal lives, and then all our personal opinions and feelings towards whatever situation, you know, we might pick from any of those scenarios to write about. But I don't know, the writing process is a lot different now than it was when we were younger. Like, we've learned so much over the years. Like, it's kind of hard to go backwards and write the way that we did back then, because we've worked with so many producers and learned so much about how to properly write songs and stuff that we have just a different approach now. And I think the main thing when writing a song now, before it was just kind of like writing a riff and some cool parts, and then we put that together into the shape of a song and write lyrics and melodies over it. Whereas now it's like, you know, the chorus is the most important part. That's kind of what really draws people in. We kind of start there, and if you have a good chorus melody initially and then a good chorus lyric, you can kind of build a song around that. You could build a relative verse combinations, as well as even coming up with a riff that complements it from there. Because you can have the coolest riff in the world, but if you don't have a great chorus, like, you don't really have a song, you know? So we've kind of learned to work that way.
Dude, that just totally blew my mind, dude. And now after hearing that, I'm gonna go after this interview, I'm gonna go rewrite all the songs I've ever written in my life.
There you go.
Dude,
at least when you start on the new one, start chorus first.
Oh yeah, no, I completely, you know what? And the choruses are usually like the choruses and solos are usually like some of my favorite parts in the song. I think that totally makes sense, dude. So one of the songs I really love that just came out was Superhero. And one of the reasons why like it really hit me is I became a new dad like 5 months ago. So seeing like the video.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, brother. So like seeing the video with like the family and all that, dude, and all the guest artists that you had on that I know like our parents like. Tell me a little bit more about that song and how that came to be, man. I'm pretty interested.
Well, we wanted one song on, because when you write songs, there's kind of different kind of time pocket frames they have to fit into if you want them to be played on the radio. So with that being said, it usually comes in around like 2 minutes and 50 seconds, or on average, most songs are going to be around 3:30. And radio stations don't want songs to go too long. That's why you radio edit stuff. It's not just necessarily because of cursing and stuff like that. It's a lot of times because the songs are too long, and you got to make them fit within this pocket so a radio station isn't giving away too much valuable airspace to one entity. So with that being said, this particular song, we wanted to kind of not really care too much about that in the initial, at least, writing of it. You can edit it down to a radio edit version, which we do have. But the initial song, we wanted it to be something that just kind of, you know, didn't have any rules or you know, limits to it as far as the length of it and what we wanted to do with the intro and how many verses it had and things like that. And we also kind of wanted it to be this, like, electric light orchestra meet the ATREYU kind of song. So that was kind of where it went as far as the orchestration.
Dude, I think that's awesome, dude. And like I said, I really enjoy the video, dude. And you know, I personally love everything you guys do, man. If you guys farted, I'd probably listen to it, dude. I just love it. I just love you guys.
Funny.
What's up?
Funny you say that. Actually, when we funny you say that. When we recorded Long Live, we had a fart mic set up.
Oh,
And
God.
anytime somebody had to fart, you just say, you just yell fart mic, and our producer Fred Archambault would pause the recording, and immediately he had it set up ready to go. Anytime you hit record on the fart mic, and you'd run over to the fart mic and fart into it, and basically he saved all the farts from the whole record. And we made certain songs that we jokingly put the fart in at certain parts and stuff, and instead of like a 1, 2, 3 go, it'd be like a 1, 2, 3, and it was just, it's very childish, but at the same time it was very entertaining at the time, and we thought it'd be, funny to put one album out there that's like kind of golden ticket album where we just put fart noises, every single fart over the entire album, and then ship it out to somebody who buys it, and they get it, and they're like, what the hell is wrong with my album? It's really just us farting all over it.
That's awesome, dude. All right, dude. So I got all my music questions out of the way. I want to ask you 3 straight shooters, and then our final question before we go. Just 3 random questions. All right. In the zombie apocalypse, if you could have any choice of weapon, what would be your weapon?
Oh man.
I'm sorry, I know that's the toughest question
Somewhere.
right now.
I would say I would want. I would assume it's probably some sort of. I would want somewhere where you could just hide and they can't get into. Whatever that would be my weapon. Be some sort of box that has like barbed wire and things all around it, and a lifetime supply of food and electricity.
All right,
that
bro.
That would be my weapon of choice.
All right, that's perfect. That leads in right to the second question. So if you only had a choice for one lifetime supply of food besides water, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, tough one. I would probably though. It's a toss-up between sushi or Mexican food, like just tacos. But probably probably sushi. I'd probably just fucking eat sushi forever.
Dude, that's awesome, dude. All right, what's the one thing besides music that you're always doing?
Oh man. Aside from like working,
Yeah,
I have a bunch of. Aside from working, like I'm actually I just got a new house about 9 months ago, and I'm like obsessed, as I never realized before, with gardening. And like I love just fucking growing shit in my backyard, whether it be vegetables or things I can eat, or even just growing aesthetically pleasing plants to like. For instance, I'm trying to cover all my walls that I don't really like the colors of the walls, and I'm going to cover them all up with morning glories because they just are very, they climb the walls and stuff like that, and grow flowers and just are a lot more aesthetically pleasing than a wall. So I've been on this mission every morning and night that I have free time. I'm just out there either working on my garden or painting the deck or I don't know, just working on my yard for the most part, my house as well, but. I don't know, just doing adult stuff. It's become really stimulating.
No, I totally agree, man. I know I'm 31 now, and the adult stuff just seems to be stuff I like, and I'm a gardener myself, dude, and I love like just transplanting and all that, and it's totally great. So hey, it was just your birthday, man. I want to say happy birthday, dude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to email you, but I didn't want to be that guy. But I want to tell you in person, happy birthday, bro.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. So before I let you go, man, I want to say thank you so much for being on my show, man. It's a dream come true. I spent countless hours marketing, trying to be a family man, working 40 hours a week, and the fact that after like 16 years of listening to you guys and I'm actually talking to you is completely mind-blowing because I never knew that this would happen. And if somebody told me that I was talking to Dan Jacobs from ATREYU when I was a sophomore in high school, I would have told them they are freaking crazy, dude. So first off, I want to say thank you, man.
Yeah, no worries, dude. I appreciate the taking your time to put this on your show and, help support my band.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, bro, you want to do me one last favor before I let you go?
Sure.
Would you say this is Dan Jacobs from ATREYU, and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Yeah. This is Dan Jacobs from ATREYU, and you are listening to the Metal Mixtape.
Dan, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. I hope you have a wonderful day and the rest of the week, man. You're amazing. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
No worries. You too, man. Take it easy.
Peace.